Hey, this is Karen Coach's Corner Chats, and on the episode with me today is Scott James. Scott, where are you at, and what are you up to?
I'm in Columbus, Ohio, just east side, about 5 minutes from Columbus, Ohio, in a place called Bexley. I'm the head girls coach at Bexley High School, and this has been my third year there. So as the girls soccer coach.
And what's it been like, kind of being so early in your program? What were some of the things that when you started out, that you felt like you wanted to kind of put in place?
Well, I'm an alumni of Bexley, and I've been coaching baseball, soccer. I was at the boys' side, so there's been a lot of different variety there. But the first thing I wanted to get with when I took over the girls' position was positivity. There has been a culture of a lot of negative things going on, and Bexley girls soccer has a great history in the state. They have one state championship and several finalists. So I wanted to get back to that, and I think the biggest thing we had to do was create an environment of positivity. And I think the senior class that we had that year really bought into it. Everybody kind of bought in and really loved it, and it set the tone for the rest of the next 3 years, which has been great.
How do you go about setting that positive tone? What kind of things did you kind of do with the girls to start laying that foundation?
Well, the biggest thing we did was we had a lot more team activities. Trying to think what we did that first year. The first year we had like an Olympics type event where all the girls chose their teams, and we did like a soccer Olympic type event. I think we had like a backwards kick. We had like a farthest kick with your off foot, just various things like that. We did a 3v3 tournament I called the trios tournament. And then everything we said, we remained positive. The best thing you can say is making sure you say things that are positive. Yes, you can correct the girls on things, but it has to be in a positive manner. You can't demean them. You can't ridicule them. You always have to just be like, hey, here's the other side of it. And I think the girls really appreciated that they're so used to being brought down and everything. And it was kind of like, all right, hey, we're saying this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. Hey, you might be not doing what we want you to do, but we're going to encourage you to get it up that way. And so I instituted a lot of a daily text. I had sent out a daily text with a daily quote for the day. I had a couple of alumni always text me back and say, hey, Coach James, I miss those texts in college. And I'm like, a little weird if I did that still, but we did stuff like that. We just made sure we focused on positivity as much as we can. And it's been fun. So it's been a fun ride so far.
It sounds like the communication is super important for you within your program.
Yeah, I'm a huge thing on communication. We use TeamSnap, and I tell the parents from day one, I'm going to over communicate. So just get ready for it. And so many times I look at TeamSnap and I look at the emails and they say no email. And I'm wondering if oh wow, did I email too much? But I want them to know, that I'm constantly thinking about soccer, how to get the team better, how to get the players better. I also want the parents to know what is happening in the program, because I've been a part of programs, whether I was a coach or a player, or I've seen other things where people don't communicate your expectations. You don't communicate what's happening. Even as simple as, hey, we're switching practice from one location to a different location, or hey, we have to change times. Sometimes the players don't communicate that to the parents. So I want to make sure the parents know, like, they're in the loop. And I know the parents, they joke with me all the time. I have too many emails, but I'm just like, hey, I'm constantly thinking about soccer. I want to make sure that you guys know what is going on. So we always constantly talk to them about their communication expectations. We talk about self-evaluations before the season, after the season. Actually, I just collected a bunch of them today, and I'm going to be looking at that tonight. And we constantly talk to them because we want them to know there shouldn't be a guessing game as a player. It shouldn't be like, I don't know if coach feels like this way. I don't know, what do you want? They should know how I feel, and I don't want them to be ever afraid of me. I know some of the freshmen, sometimes they get a little scared of me because I usually have a goatee and all that. So I'm bald, and they kind of look. I look angry all the time, and I'm like, guys, I'm really not. I'm really an easy guy to get along with, but when I'm in practice mode, I'm in practice mode. So, and that's the expectations I set with the girls too. It's like, when we're in practice mode, it's time for practice. All right. We can goof around before practice. We can have a good time, but when we're at practice, let's focus on it.
I love the idea of having players understanding like their roles, responsibilities, but not only them, but by putting it out there in the team snap, the parents know. So the expectations are clear across the board. So, even if you're sitting in the stands, here's the expectation I have for your daughter as a player for my team. And it kind of clears up any confusion or ways that people can kind of misconstrue things. Where have you coached before being at Bexley?
This is my 19th year as a girls soccer coach. It's pretty funny, actually. So I graduated from Bexley 5, and then kind of went to Capital University. I had it with the men's team playing, and then when I graduated at Bexley, I always wanted to be a coach. I actually started at the rec department as a T-ball coach. So I've been coaching for 26 years. My dad was a coach, and I've just always been around coaching. And when I took my first teaching job, hey, go in, meet the administration, make an impression felt, all that. So I remember going into the administration one day, an admin meeting, and I introduced myself. I went to the athletic director. I'm like, hey, if you need anything, I can be a scorekeeper, I could be a ticket taker. I'm a first year teacher. I'm trying to make an impression. Anything you need, I can do whatever you need. Next day, he calls me up. He said, does that offer still stand? I'm like, what do you mean? We need a girls soccer coach. And so at that time, my goal was baseball. I was all about baseball. I thought I was gonna be a baseball coach. And I'm like, I started thinking about it. I talked to my fiance, which was my wife at the time, or now. And I said, what do you think? And I was like, all right, let's try it. I love soccer. I played soccer my whole life. I was an announcer for Bexley as a soccer team. So I'd always been around soccer. It was just, I never thought of myself as a soccer coach. So I took it there. I was head coach at Franklin Heights High School for 7 years for the girls team. We didn't have the best record all the time, but the girls got better and they loved being around the game. I think they loved being at practice more than anything else. And I still stay in contact with a lot of those girls. And so then after 7 years, I decided to step back, and I was just going to take a year off. And then one of the guys who used to be my ball kid when I was in high school, he was the boys coach at the time. He's like, hey, I need a JVB coach. Would you be interested? I'm like, sure. I want to get back in Bexley. I'd love to do it. It'd be great. So I did that for 3 years, and I was varsity assistant for 2 years with the boys team, and JVA coach. And then this girls job came up. And the assistant coach at the time was actually one of my former players from the boys side. He asked me, hey, this job's going to come up. Would you be interested? I was like, yeah, let's do it. It was always my dream to become the Bexley girls soccer coach, just because after seeing all their success, being a part of that first, I was the announcer for their first ever game. It was a fun time. And I was like, you know what? I want to be a part of this and at least bring up the program. And it helps that I have a 10-year-old daughter that really looks up to the girls. She loves being around them. And she's like, Dad, you got to take this. I mean, she was 7 at the time, but she's like, Dad, you have to take this job. And I think she's already thinking about when she's in high school. So who knows? I've been here since 2019, and it's been awesome. It's been an awesome ride.
When you look back at the Franklin Heights time, how were you different then than what you are now? How did you go about, kind of going in just, all right, let's rock and roll, and the girls enjoyed it, but what things do you look back and go, maybe not what I should have been doing, or that maybe you did differently when you ended up at Bexley?
Oh man, I was intense. And I was I was mid-20s. I was all about winning. And I had a lot of rants with the girls for not playing their best. And I was hyper focused on winning. And I look at it now and I'm like, whoa. And there are times in games I had to have the players settle me down because I was just very intense. Also, I was doing a lot of joysticking. I was like, hey, go here, go there, go there. And I was telling them, like a rec soccer coach, hey, let's do this, this, and this. I look at myself now and I'm like, whoa, I don't do that as much as I used to. And I think it was just going through the coaching thing, just going through the coaching experience and understanding that I don't need to control things in the game. We prepare them in practice for the game. And I think just being way too intense on winning. I mean, we never had the best winning record. I mean, I joke around with the coaches we were playing. I'm like, yeah, you have girls been playing since they're 4 years old all together. I have girls with like 2 weeks experience, and the girls, and I'm still teaching girls X's and O's and trying to teach them how to kick a ball. But, gave me everything they got. And I really appreciated that. Looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I had that experience just to, get my head on right and learn that it's not about winning, it's about developing the program. And I have a lot of girls that I keep track of on Facebook. They message me sometimes. I have one of my former players text me every once in a while. She's coaching her daughter at a club program right now. She's asking me for advice. And I love that. I absolutely love being able to, talk to the coaches, and I can see the same mistakes that I was making that they're doing now. And I'm like, hey, try something different. So I think from now, I'm yes, I want to win. That's not a question, but I'm more on developing the players and getting them ready for their life, because after you get out of high school, it gets hard. And I want to make sure the girls are ready for whatever their life is going to happen to them. And in soccer is as much, I never thought I'd say this when I was a younger coach, but soccer is a part of it. It's about being there, having fun, and focusing on and working on teamwork skills. There's a lot of things that they can learn in life and ready for their future. So that's what we're focused on now. Yeah, definitely love winning, but I try to not focus so much on winning. It's more or less how they're working in practice, how their effort affects that, and then the attitude as well.
You mentioned earlier that your dad was a coach. Did he coach soccer as well, or what was his main sport?
So in high school, he was a football player, basketball player, and a baseball player. He didn't really pick up soccer until I took it, because I'm the oldest child. He took up soccer, my first grade year, or whatever it was, and he learned the game. He really helped me out, and I think his dad was a coach as well, so it's in my blood. He really helped me out, understanding how to treat the game. And the biggest thing he helped me out with is being able to separate being a dad and a coach, because I've coached both my kids, like in soccer, baseball, basketball, everything. And I always got to tell my kids, like, hey, at practice, I'm coach. When we're in the car, we got to separate. Sometimes it blurs a little bit. Sometimes I ask them like what they're thinking, what advice they have for me. So we really bounce things off. But I learned that a lot from my dad. He really helped me out with that type of thing. And then he eventually, when he became a referee. So I would always talk to him. Like, that's the one thing we could really talk about and not argue so much was soccer. And he passed away recently. So I missed that. I wish he could have seen this run. But it was really great to like think that he's up there watching me or whatever it is. But we used to talk about soccer all the time. He followed us last year. We made district finals, and he was watching it online in Florida with my brother. So it was really good to always talk to him about it. I can bounce ideas off him, and he always used to give me a lot of advice about coaching. So I learned a ton from him.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. The other thing I was going to ask, so started with girls, bounced around, did some boys, and now back to girls. What are some of the differences, and what makes the girls' sides maybe a little bit more enjoyable?
Well, there's a lot of different things. I've had this question asked a lot, and the boys, they get it quick. And as males, we sometimes just don't even think about it and just go. And they don't want to know the why. They just want to go and go and go. With the girls, I really enjoy them asking me, hey, coach, why are we doing this drill? Or, hey, what's the point of this drill? And you kind of have to explain it. This is why we're doing it. And then we kind of put it into the perspective. All right, this is a midfield drill. We're working on breaking out, getting the balls to the wings, crossing it in. And we give them kind of more perspective. So they're more introspective and understanding the game. And just watching the two sports too. I really love watching women's soccer and girls soccer. It's more technical. It's more tactical. They're actually playing soccer, and I'm sorry, I know you're boys coach. And sometimes they play the game like it's supposed to be played. Where sometimes you see boys teams, it's whoever wins the fight the most. It's just a battle. It's physicality, which can be great, but sometimes it's just not as technical and tactical as it could be. So in coaching the girls, they'll tell you, hey, this isn't working right now. We need to do something better. and just being able to communicate that. So I enjoy the challenge of it. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the challenging of the boys. The boys, sometimes it was like two rams. We just butt heads a lot and a lot of egos going on. Girls, not so much, which has been really nice. And it helps that I coached a lot of their older brothers too. So that always helps. So I have the family rapport with them as well.
Well, I think it goes full circle back to your early on with your over communicating of like, here's
Yeah.
the expectations and roles. So now the girls kind of understand what they're supposed to be doing, but to be able to say to a coach, not really sure why we're doing this, or I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing in this spot, bodes really well for you as you continue to grow this program.
Mm-hmm. And I've had it before where a couple of times, I think it was my first year, I was like, girls, I'm not very comfortable with this. Like, I think it was set pieces or something. I can't remember the exact topic it was. And I'm like, girls, I'm not very comfortable with this. Can you help me out? And they were willing. They weren't like, if I had said with the boys, oh, it'd have been a firestorm. Girls were like, okay, hey coach, we can do this. And then we kind of talked it through, and then we were able to get more comfortable with it. So it's been a good learning experience for me and for them as well.
So you mentioned your run this year. So what exactly went down with your group this year?
Oh, wow. It was, especially coming after COVID last year. Last year, we were district finalists. We went to overtime, and we were one penalty kick away from winning district final. So the girls were motivated. And I think that really helped us in the off season, because we lost, I think, 6 seniors from the year before. So we had a bunch of seniors coming back this year, and that's all we talked about. From January 1st, when we did futsal, to weightlifting, to everything in the summer, the girls were really focused on it. So we had some ups and downs. We lost our main keeper right before our second game of the season. She had a concussion, and she ended up being out for two months. And she came back right before the playoffs, which was great because she was she's already committed to a college. So that was the kind of the glue that we needed. But most of the time we played good. We had a really good schedule. I tried to schedule teams. I talked to a former coach at Bexley. He said, hey, schedule everybody outside your area, just so you can see how other styles work. So we played up at North Royalton, which is up near Cleveland, which is a D1 school. The girls walked in, and it was like, this is like a huge place. It was like a college. We went out east. We played an east team. We played a couple North Central teams. We try to play teams a lot around away from Columbus, just so we can get that experience. And I think the North Royalton really helped us, because when we went to regionals, we went an hour away. And so being on the bus for that long, the girls were used to that. And it was really easy for them to get it. But I think it really all came together after our last game. It was, I think we lost our last game of the season, and then it was just like, girls, and I was kind of the seniors realizing, hey, our days are numbered. We don't know how many more days we have. And I think we all really bonded well together and realized, hey, we got to take this, and came together as a team and battled together as a team. We battled a very tough Granville squad in the district finals. They beat us the year before 2-0, and we came out and just played one of our best games ever. We just played very physical, pressing, just a great style, and we came out with the win. And then the regional semis and the regional finals were both really tough teams, and the girls just battled together. They were excited to be there and excited to make this run, and then making to state final four. And we held the team scoreless for 68 minutes or something like that. And we played good. And I think the girls are starting to realize that, hey, we're a good squad. And it was more or less us talking to them, back to that positivity, is constantly talking. Even if we had a bad performance in the regular season when we knew we should have played well, was, girls, you're better than this, right? We want elite soccer players. And that means you have to go out and work your tail off in practice. I don't care what's going on with your friends, with your school, family, whatever, you focus on practice. Get your focus here. And it was constantly reminding them that and telling them, hey, girls, you're one of the best teams in the state. You just got to focus. And I think they started buying into it in the tournament. And that's how we were able to make that, great run. I'm still, it was like a week ago, and I can't believe it happened. It was awesome.
One of the things, because I went to a couple of the state final games on the boys' side this past weekend, and one of the things that stood out for me, and you mentioned it, was in the game, all 4 goalkeepers I thought were spectacular. Just solid with their, solid hands, great distribution, just like in the chaotic moments seemed to be calm. So it sounds like it was a huge boost getting your keeper back.
Oh, it was huge. She was our starting keeper for the last 2 years, so she's a senior. I think she only gave up in the last 2 years maybe 10 to 15 goals or something, even this year. And she stood on her head, to use the hockey term, at Granville against the district final. Even in the state semifinal, she stood on her head. Like she was the rock that we were missing in the back line, because our back line is extremely solid, and we needed that consistent performance. And the girls that stepped up for her while she was gone, they did great too. It's just sometimes we just had some momentary lapses, and she came in and was playing awesome. And we really fed on that, and that really helped us out. Yeah, so it's just like hockey. You can ride a hot goalkeeper as long as you can. And I watched the girls D2 final. You have solid goalkeeping, you can go a long way. So yeah, I think next year we'll have some solid goalkeeping as well. So hopefully that can keep us going.
So that was going to be my next question. So here you are in year 3. I'm about to head in year 3. I'd love to make a run like what you just did. But where do you go from here? Like what was kind of the post-game discussion, and then like talking with your staff, what are some of your future, like, all right, so last year you were so fired up to get back, and because you knew you were so close, now you've gotten even closer. What's the mindset? What kind of things do you take away from the whole experience?
Well, we had uniform pickup today, and I was talking to the girls. I'm like, girls, our schedule is not easy. I'm a big firm believer of getting a tough schedule to prepare you, to get you battle tested for the tournament. And I told the girls, hey, we're having a tough schedule. Be ready for it. And all the girls, I mean, they're in different sports right now, and I probably shouldn't say this, but they're all, coach, we miss soccer. Like, she plays basketball, and I went over to go watch her, and I yelled her nickname, and she's like, coach, I almost cried when you said that. She's like, I miss soccer so much. And I'm like, dude, it's okay. Focus on basketball. You're doing great. But it's now the motivation is to get in there, to get in the weight room. We haven't really had an official meeting yet with the girls because, the Ohio high school rules. Mm-hmm. But we're looking at it is we're hitting January 1st hits. We're hitting the weight room, and we're doing futsal. And I think we have a good junior class that's going to be really leaders, and they're going to get the girls to buy in. And I think every girl from, our bottom girl and JVB up to varsity, they saw the run. Most of the girls came to the games with us, and I think they were living vicariously through us. And I think they see themselves, hey, we can make this step. And now they believe. And now they have to realize, hey, we're going to have a target for most of the season next year, if not all the season. And it's working hard in the off season. And that's going to be the number one target. When we have our awards ceremony, I'm going to be like, girls, guys, we got to focus on the winter. Winter and spring and summer are the times to shine. That's how we get better in the fall. But staff, we're all ready, fired up. I think we're on a group text. We're always texting each other and stuff that we have. I think that's the worst thing about being out of season. I see all these things on Twitter. I see all these things on Instagram, like good practice. I wish I could do this right now. So I text them to everybody, and everybody loves it. So I think we're going to be very motivated next year. And I think we have a good shot. We have a lot of good returners, solid returners coming back.
Are you excited to one day possibly have your daughter on the team?
Yeah. As much headaches as she can cause me sometimes, I love the girl. She's around every single time. And I what she really loves is that they're like big sisters to her. Like, she sees them as all big sisters. And all the girls, my wife always asks me, are you sure the girls like her? Are you sure girls like her around? I'm like, the girls, I have here today. Is Aubrey going to be here today? I'm like, no, she's got X, Y, and Z going on. No, I can't wait to get her up there because I know her class is going to be pretty good. And she took a year off from soccer. I'm trying to convince her to be a goalie because she has really good hands and good foot skills or footwork. But I don't know. Yeah, I can't wait to get her in there because I've coached her in softball, I've coached her in basketball. I can't wait to see her what she's going to do in high school soccer. Yeah, so I definitely can't wait.
What's been the experience working with the boys coach at Bexley?
It's been pretty good. luckily the two coaches I've dealt with, the one I was the assistant coach under it when he was varsity, and the guy currently now, I played high school with him, so we have a good rapport. So like the JVA coach, who was my son's coach, I taught him at Franklin Heights. I got him into coaching. So the JVB coach, actually, I coached club with him. So, and then the varsity assistant, I coached him on the boys side. So we're all very familiar. I think that's what we didn't have before, is the girls coaches and boys coaches didn't really mesh very well. I'm trying to make sure that, like, we're a big brotherhood, like our big family. The boys came out to our games. We came out to their games. I'm getting texts from the boys coaches. We're texting back and forth. We're trying to make it sure it's not just boys soccer, girls soccer. It's Bexley soccer. And that's what we're looking at. And we have a group report. I bounce ideas off of him. He bounces ideas off of me. It's been great. It's been great to work together. I'm sure we'll probably have some problems later on, but otherwise it's been great. We can work well together. We can share half the field with each other. It's been great.
The one thing that I've enjoyed hearing is that it seems like everything along the way has been someone you've kind of made a relationship.
Yeah.
When someone's like, hey, do you want to take over the JVB team? Or, hey, would you like to? And even this, it's cool that the coaches that are within the Bexley program are ones that you've either coached or you've played with or worked with, and continues to go back to that communication, relationship, all those types of things you continue to share.
Yeah, and that helps. And that's what Bexley is. Bexley is a community of like 2.2 square miles. We're a suburb, but everybody knows everybody. And then once you graduate, you leave for a little bit and then you come back. We have a small town feel. Like, you pretty much know everybody that's ever graduated through here. So everybody comes back. They bring their kids back because the schools are fantastic. So they want to make sure they have excellent schooling. And then they always share along their love of sports too. So pretty much all the Bexley people, you're like, oh yeah, I went to high school with them. I know this person. I know that person. So that's been the great thing. That's why I was born in Florida, and we moved up here before my freshman year of high school. And I always thought I was going to move back to Florida. I left Bexley for a few years. My wife was like, hey, we can get a house here. We came back to Bexley. So it's just a small town feel. Everybody loves being around here. It's awesome.
Well, you even said that when you graduated high school, you're like, I'm going to end up back at Bexley and I'm going to coach here, which I think is so cool. Like you said, the people of the town are like so ingrained with that. Was there, what was the community's did they rally around the girls as they went through this playoff experience?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. There's a lot of Facebook messages. I would always get tons of texts from people. They always come out to the games. I think, I would say the regional semifinal, we've had a few hundred people there. A lot of people were following us on Twitter. I would always get texts from people. They seem to really rally around, especially if you had kids in the program, or kids. I had on the state semifinal, I had 3 of my former players, the seniors from my first year, were there. I had a couple parents from there. It was great to see them. And I looked at a couple of them like, guys, this is for you. You guys started this. Like, I hope you guys realize you're still a part of this program. It's been awesome. And that's the thing about Bexley, is when there's somebody being successful, everybody rallies around it and they will be there for them. So yeah, we had a great community support. I'm hoping to get us in a spoiler alert to my players if they're listening. We're gonna have a parade. I'm gonna try to get us a float in the July 4th parade. I just talked to a city council person last night. They're gonna have us at a city council meeting. So I'm like, I didn't think that was possible, but hey, if they're gonna have this, it's great. It's been a great to unite the community with soccer, it's been a great.
I think that's so cool when they start to realize the impact they're making beyond just the field. And you even talked about earlier, just like, I'm preparing these girls not only to be really good soccer players, but for life, and to be able to have some alumni come back, or the parents that you've made a connection with, I think speaks volumes for that. The neat thing about this is, you said Bexley had a rich kind of history of having success, then had a kind of a dry run. Has it been exciting to see that you kind of took this challenge on, let's try to get this Bexley ship righted, and here you are rocking and rolling? So how much do you take and say, hey, I'm glad I've done this, but the job's not done?
Every day. the coach who was part of the run and stuff, he texted me. Scott Dempsey, he texted me. He's like, "Hey coach, you're doing great," because he's an alumni too. He's like, "Good job getting it back and forth and like getting it back on there." I'm like, I'm just trying to keep my head above water right now. Like, I love the ride. It's a great ride. I just want to make sure we're doing the right things every day, and that's the thing, is trying to make sure the girls are doing the right thing in the classroom, right thing out in the community, and everything else will come. Like we'll put the work in off season. We'll put the work in the summer. It's making sure we're being a good human being more than anything else, and then it will come. Whatever success happens. I never thought I'd say that. Ask me 20 years ago, I would say that. I'm like, no, I want to win, win, win. I've matured. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's doing the right thing and making sure that they learn from it. And I've had a couple of parents tell me this, and it's great that these girls are going to have this experience with them. Like we rode a coach bus to the state semi. All these great memories that they have are because of this run. And I want the younger girls to see this. Hey, it's possible. You can do this. You saw these girls do it. You were part of the program. It's getting them to believe in themselves more than anything, and just being a good person. I mean, that's what we're trying to do more than anything else.
Is there a feeder program, like a middle school program or anything like that? Or is it mainly just once they get to you, they've either played club or rec soccer?
Yeah, mainly it's club and rec. The finances aren't very good for a middle school program for us. I'm trying to work on that. I'm still trying to, we have a lot of location issues. So we don't really have since we're only 2.2 square miles, excuse me, we have to rent fields from places. And sometimes the money doesn't work out that way. So we're still trying to work on that. I would love to have a middle school program. It would be fantastic. We're just not at that stage yet. So we get a lot of teams. We got a lot of girls from club. We get a handful of girls from rec programs. And that's the biggest thing, is just trying to get them to play around. So I'm sending out an email here to the 8th graders here tonight to get them excited for January, hopefully.
The one thing too you mentioned earlier was like sharing. You get one half and the boys get one half. So what's kind of dynamic? Because I think a lot of people look at it and go, "Oh, they're doing really well because they've got their own field and they get to have all these facilities." And you were talking about when they went to the team up north and they were like, "Wow, this is amazing. This is like a college campus." So what is kind of what size is Bexley and what have you?
So we're Division II. We only have 2 turf fields. So we have the main field and then we have a practice field. The main field is usually taken up by football. And so everybody has to play around football. And then we have middle school football, boys soccer, girls soccer, field hockey to all figure out time space. So it is a logistic nightmare. Mm-hmm. Luckily, I scheduling, so I'm kind of help organize things. We also have a grass field, but I always tell my girls I will not practice on grass fields just because, and it's not even a good grass field. It's really a dog park. So we have to dodge
dog stuff,
obstacles, dogs itself sometimes. And we don't play many games on grass. We only play on turf. So our time frames, and one of the things I tell the parents in the beginning, hey, some days we'll be at 4:00, some day we'll be at 5:30, some day we'll be at 7:30. Just it's how it fits. Luckily, we're able to get most of the time we get a field to ourselves with it. We'd share with our JV team. Sometimes I would have to beg and plead the boys, hey, can I get a half a field for maybe an hour, just because of space wise? Because if there's a field hockey game or a middle school football game going on, we lose that main field, and now we only have one field for 4 teams. So it's just kind of finding the right delicate fit more than anything.
I think it's kind of cool because it's real life, control what you can control. So girls, I know this is maybe not ideal, but look, we're going to make the best of it. Here's what we're going to do. And then rock and roll, and then gives them the appreciation, like you said, of taking a chartered bus and going to some games and stuff. And you're like, wait, this is really cool. You put the work in. The stuff that people don't see can give you opportunities like what you got to experience this year.
Yeah, it was nice. We had a clap out for the state semifinals, and the girls are walking around with their phones, taking videos, and all their classmates are standing there clapping for them. And then they saw the bus and they were just floored. And I'm like, hey, if you get this far, like you said, if you get there this far, this is the spoils right now. Like, this is good. Let's enjoy this, but we still have work to do.
So if we look forward, where does Coach Scott James see himself in the next 5-10 years? Are we building Bexley into a dynasty? Are we trying to build something that people look at and go, that's one of the solid girls programs in Ohio?
That's my goal. That's my goal. I have no indications to go anywhere else. I mean, my daughter's going to be in 6th grade next year, so I've got a few more years, but I still got like 11, 12 years left of teaching. So I don't plan on going anywhere. That's my goal, is to build, get Bexley back to where it was in the early 2000s, just to get it to be a program and just be respected more than anything else. Because I want people to go, hey, they're doing things the right way. They're doing it how it should be done. I want to make sure we have a good reputation sportsmanship wise. I don't want to be a bunch of jerks. Like I told the girls, hey, let's always pick up the opponents. Let's be good about things. So yeah, the goal is to try to build a dynasty, but I'm more worried about trying to build better people right now than anything else.
Is as you kind of look forward, I just drew a blank on what that guy was going to say. My goodness. I was going to ask the Bexley, in terms of, you said it's really close to Columbus. So what are some of the other like bigger schools that maybe you look at and go, that's something we'd kind of like to be similar to?
I'd say New Albany, which is a D1 school up in Northeast Columbus. It's a very affluent area. That's kind of what we are, a more affluent suburb. Let's see here, what else? Olentangy, which is a little north of us, is a Division I program. Hosting Granville is always a top team in Division II, which is the same size as us. Those type of teams are the teams that I'm looking at trying to be. A Watterson, I want to be like those type of teams, so we can be ready and face everybody else in the state.
And you were talking about playing all the year long. So is it just kind of futsal and weightlifting, or are there other opportunities that you have open fields and such?
So what we do in January is the seniors, with the seniors to be, I just say, hey girls, we're going to play futsal. I schedule the dates and the girls do everything else. I just go and watch. It's just fantastic. I just sit there. I'll keep track of time, laugh at people if they start falling on the ground or something, but I sit there and watch. We'll do weightlifting, and then we'll probably do open fields in the summer, and then whatever Ohio High School decides with the 10 days.
Yes.
And then we'll use our 10 days. We are in a summer tournament, and we do a summer team camp. So that's pretty much what we do in the summer. And then August 1st, we hit the ground running. That's always the goal, is in the summer is we kind of ramp up. July, I tell the parents, hey, July, try to don't schedule any vacation. July 1, we're starting. August 1, no vacation, because I want to get to August 1 and I want to be running. Mm-hmm. I don't want to walk into it. We're going to run. And then that kind of sets the tone for the season more than anything. So yeah, most of the stuff will be June. We'll do a couple open fields here and there. I'll probably do a bunch of cast practices or senior practices, which are great because I let the seniors in the practice. And most of the time I see the seniors, they plan the same drill that I've done in the previous years. And so I'm like, all right, or they're like, coach, hey, what does this drill do? Like, how do you do this? And I'm like, and I explain, oh, okay, so it's this drill. It's great to see them do the same things that we've done. So that shows me at least we're having some type of impact on them. So that's kind of what we do. I try to, in the summer, I don't want to be as too hands-on, especially in June. I want to just let the girls develop that team chemistry, develop that team rapport, and get the seniors to kind of develop that leadership more than anything else. And that's what futsal, the seniors will pick teams, they'll organize it, they'll create the rules. I organize the dates. That's it. And I just kind of sit there and watch.
The one thing too that I can hear when you talk about your program and coaching is just lots of energy, passion. Like, you just love the opportunity to coach. Where does that come from? Is that just something you've always been kind of, or like, I know teaching, like I'm a teacher as well. There's nothing quite like teaching. It's being a parent is a huge, like that made a huge impact and changed me and changed my coaching personally. But where does all of this, like just this drive to be so successful, where does that come from?
Dude, I don't know. I had a coach, I had a baseball coach once. I was talking to him and I was talking just like this. And he's like, man, you have lots of energy. Are you always like this? I'm like, yeah. I mean, if I love something, if I'm passionate about something, I just have a lot of energy. And I tell the girls all the time, my students, I don't drink coffee. I've never had an ounce of coffee in my life. This is me without coffee. Just imagine if I had coffee. Like, I'm going to be bouncing off the walls. If I'm really focused on something, if I really want to see something succeed, I'm going to put this much energy in. And I hopefully the girls realize, and my students realize, that this is the energy that I'm going to put in. I expect you to do the same thing. And so, yeah, it's just trying to, see them do their best that they can be every day. And I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if I got it from my parents, I don't know.
I love the idea though of you're almost like a role model for like, look, I'm going to put the time in. I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to continually be looking for opportunities. Like I'm on Twitter, I'm on this, I'm always learning types of things. How big is quote unquote still learning for you as a coach?
Oh man, it's huge. We came up, we didn't come up with it, but a few years ago, at my school, they talked about the growth mindset, and that just blew my mind open. And I just constantly need to keep learning. And I don't want to be, I've always said this, I do not want to be that teacher who just puts his feet up on the desk and go do your assignment, you're done. Or the coach just rolls the balls out. Hey, this is what we're doing, go do it. No, I can't do that. I got to be learning constantly. Like I know I don't know everything, and I know I don't learn everything, but I want to know everything. So it's constantly, I love Twitter, just looking through the drills, like the Sunday shares that the English coaches do. Love that stuff. Seeing stuff on Instagram, love it. And it just bothers me that I don't have an outlet right now to show the girls, hey, this is the drill I just saw, let's do this drill, or just that type of thing. I just want to keep learning. I don't want to be complacent at all in anything I do. And it's really bothers me. Like my wife always can tell when I'm not coaching, because she's like, man, you're cleaning up the house, you're doing all this stuff. Like you're missing coaching really bad, aren't you? Like, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm coaching my daughter's basketball team 2 days a week, but still it's like yesterday, I literally sat home, fell asleep at 5:30 in the afternoon for a nap. And I'm like, I'm not used to this. I need to do something.
The transition is hard from going, and then it's so quickly over. That's something I wanted to ask too. How has your wife dealt with this kind of like overly just hyper focused coach that she has as a husband?
I don't know. Beginning of our relationship, it was definitely hard. Definitely the Franklin Heights years, it was definitely difficult on her, especially with the kid when our kids were younger. Now that our kids are a little older, she kind of understands that this is who he is. I'm not going to see him for a little bit. Mm-hmm. She just requests that I go on a couple of dates with her here and there, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. I mean, during the tournament run, we had a date every Friday night of the tournament run. So I'm like, I'm superstitious. I'm like, we have to keep doing this. We're going to go out for a date every Friday night now. So she knows that when soccer's over, she's got me for a couple of months, and then baseball hits. So she knows she's got me for some time, but she knows that I'm doing things good for the girls and that I'm always going to be there. But she's very patient, and I really 100% appreciate it. Like, I don't know where I would be without this. I mean, for our regional finals, she took my son, who's a sophomore, and 7 of his friends who are sophomores in our van to the game. And I'm like, honey, what are you doing? Like, you just took 7 or 8 sophomore boys. You're insane. But she handled it. She was great. She was like out there in the game. Like, we won the district final. I'm looking around. All of a sudden, boom, there's my wife right there. I didn't know she was there. She's there, very supportive. I love having her out there. She's like definitely my biggest fan. She's also so tell me, hey, why did you do this?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you do that? So it's but she's been awesome about it. She's been great. I love having her at the games and getting her feedback from it as well.
That is so awesome to hear. Scott, I've really enjoyed this chat. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. I appreciate you being on the episode. This is Kieran with Coach's Corner Chats, and I'm out. Oh, hold up. I forgot to ask a question. We're not going to shut it down yet. Hey, if people want to connect with you, what's one of the best ways for them to connect with you? and keep kind of following you and Bexley.
My email address is scott.james, it's 2 T's, SCOTT.james at Bexley, BEXLEY.US is my email. Twitter, I'm Coach James 25. On Instagram, I think I'm Coach James 25 too. It's very shocking. So yeah, follow me there. I try to do inspirational quotes on Twitter every once in a while. Instagram, I just post pictures of me and my family. That's pretty much all I do. I'm not that exciting.
Well, I will share all of that information in the show notes and what have you. But again, I appreciate you hopping on. This was awesome to kind of hear some of the backstory, because I was following it on Twitter and the run that you kept making. And we kind of talked maybe a month ago. You had shown interest in chatting, and then you all kept winning. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. It keeps getting put off, but I love it because it's for a good reason.
Well, thanks, Karen. I appreciate it. It was great talking to you as well.
All right. Hey, I'll actually shut it down for real this time. This is Carey Coach's Corner Chats with Scott James, and I'm out. Peace.